Even Buzzfeed has to admit you must criticize Ilhan Omar. Even Buzzfeed acknowledges it. Now, they're trying to play it safe, saying, defend her, but don't look away from the things she said. Okay, that's fair. Although, I don't know why you would defend her when she's said and done such awful things. And I gotta say, man, now the story about immigration and all that, it's getting crazy. It's getting crazy. I think at the very least, avoiding, like, was the guy her brother? I don't know, man. We can get into all that stuff about her brother. One thing is, it seems to be easily provable, though. She claimed, it's been reported widely, under penalty of perjury, she didn't have contact with Ahmed Elmi, the guy accused of being her brother, since like 2011 or something, or 20, I don't know the exact dates. But there's a social media post where they're together. That was deleted. That seems to be easily provable. Did she commit perjury? But let's see what BuzzFeed has to say, because I'm interested. Ariel Sobel writes, I believe Ilhan Omar didn't know that the things she said could be deeply offensive. I also believe her misguided rhetoric can normalize violent anti-Semitism. Well, I think do I think Ilhan Omar didn't know she was being offensive? I think she knew she was being offensive. I just think she didn't realize it was going to come back to bite her in the ass, which it did. Well, let's read. Now, I want to point this out too. The bigger picture that I want to get to is Trump propping up Ilhan Omar, right? So BuzzFeed simultaneously has these two stories. Trump says Minnesota can't stand Omar. His attacks have made her more popular than ever back home, but they don't seem to get it. You know, it's really funny, like, reverse psychology works really well on kids. You know what I mean? Like, there are strategies and tactics that the adults use to get the kids to do what they want. Trump, he knows how to do it. Unquestionably. They're sitting here going, haha, Trump, you think everybody hates Omar, but we secretly love her. Or we openly do. That's the point. That's what Trump really wanted. He wants her to win. Trump does not want Ilhan Omar to lose. He wants her to win. He is the greatest gift he could have ever asked for. He knows that 27% of this country are moderates, and he's going to get every single one of them votes. I'm being hyperbolic. He's going to get a good amount of them. The point is, he needs her to be front and center because she's rife with controversy. Look, set aside the weird brother stuff about her, and she's said a bunch of anti-Semitic things. Now, here's what I'll say. Because the left gets really mad, and I want to make sure I'm being fair, I call it crop dusting anti-Semitism. Because she didn't come out and just overtly say nasty things about Jewish people like those CNN hosts did. I'm going to laugh. Yeah, you may not know this, but 2 CNN employees right now have been called out for, like, I can't even repeat the things they said, but it was about Jewish people and it was about World War II Germany, and it was not the opinion you'd expect a CNN employee to have. One of them resigned. We'll see what happens to the next one. The point is, that's overt. CNN employees, overtly anti-Semitic. I'm going to say it because it's true. Ilhan Omar was crop dusting, and that's, you may have heard me say it before, but it's like when a plane gets really close to the ground but doesn't touch it. She didn't quite say things specifically. She criticized Israel. Look, by all means, Israel is ripe for criticism, okay? The West Bank settlements, the horrifying conditions in Palestine. It is a complicated scenario. It is. And I'm not going to wait because I'll tell you what, every single time I and everyone else talks about it, it's just I'm going to get 7,000 emails from people telling me I'm wrong no matter what I say. But to be real, like honestly, I don't know a whole lot about Israel and Palestine, to be honest. I'm not someone who is worthy of who is qualified to comment on what the hell's really going on. So don't take my opinion for it. I recognize that. What I can say, however, is that you have bipartisan support for criticizing Ilhan Omar's statements, okay? You want to defend her? Fine. But the thing is, you don't get to decide what's offensive, left. You don't. If the left wants to come out and say, like you've got progressives like Jank and others saying what she said wasn't offensive. No, you don't get to pick. You can't go around saying you got to ban offensive speech on Twitter and then you get to decide what's offensive. Oh, but we get it. It's the authoritarian play, right? So I do want to point out, I think it's funny that BuzzFeed runs a pro piece simultaneously with a negative piece, but let's see what they say. BuzzFeed writes, starting with a quote, I don't know how my comments would be offensive to Jewish Americans, Ilhan Omar said in January when asked about an old tweet of hers that said Israel had hypnotized the world. I believed her then, and I still do today. You're nuts, okay? I'm sorry, dude. I appreciate you trying to be critical, but come on, man. Jewish people and hypnosis is an old anti-Semitic trope. It's like you can Google it, there's pictures. Old propaganda, okay? Fine. Criticize Israel. But like, how many times does Ilhan Omar have to get as close as possible to being anti-Semitic until someone says, I think we know what you're doing, okay? I don't want to say dog whistle, it's stupid, but she's trying to look, Rashida Tlaib was following some account on Instagram that was posting images of the Israeli flag or the Star of David on rats. Rashida Tlaib is part of the squad. They're friends. Linda Sarsour, Tablet Magazine, New York Times exposed anti-Semite. They're friends. I think they're friends. They're associated. Ocasio-Cortez spoke at the event. What do you? How do you know? You know what, Buzzfeed? This is what really annoys me is the double standard in all of this. Like, Buzzfeed is not the worst. Okay, I'm talking about Buzzfeed News. They're pretty bad, but they're not the worst. They do good sometimes. Like they didn't publish the name of Carpe Donktum. They respond to inquiries, so I get it. Okay, but here's the thing, man. How can you be on the side of, criticizing someone like Sargon of Akkad for making a joke? I kid you not. You've got a guy for BuzzFeed who wrote a critical piece about Carl Benjamin saying an offensive joke. And it's warranted this huge hit piece. And they just love doing it. They love insulting and smearing them. What they do now to get their emotional rage out, is they'll say something like, Carl Benjamin, a loser and failed politician. Like, why did you add that? We don't need that context. They're doing it because they want to feel good. They want to be like, ooh, I gotcha. When Ilhan Omar says, like, what, how many times now? Like 5 tweets or whatever that are just close enough to almost being anti-Semitic. And even though the Democrats, many people in the Jewish community, conservatives, everybody's kind of like, yeah, dude, chill, that's offensive. You still get people saying, I believe she was being honest. Oh, okay, sure. I'm sure when she's hanging out with Rashida Tlaib, who friends of hers, okay, because somebody looked at her Facebook page, I believe, and found that some of her friends were posting these images depicting just horrible things about Israel. And I kid you not, in line with what these CNN employees had said, okay? CNN had a guy saying good things about World War II Germany. So anyway, the point is, why should I believe Ilhan Omar? I think you have to be willfully ignorant to defend her at this point. BuzzFeed writes, but that's the thing about anti-Semitic tropes. When you're not familiar with them, talking about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict is like walking into Chernobyl with no protective gear. Oh man, it's just so gross. You mean to tell me they believe Ilhan Omar, who is a Muslim, who is friends with Rashida, doesn't know anything about the Israel-Palestinian conflict? Are you kidding? Look at this. She says, not being familiar, it's like talking about the, what do you say? When you're not familiar with them, talking about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, whoa. I'd be willing to bet Ilhan Omar knows more about what's going on than the average person. How could you assume she doesn't? She's talking about it on purpose. How many people do you know criticize Israel? Okay? The people who do tend to know what's going on and they've chosen a side. Me, I'm not really one of those people. Don't know a whole lot about it. So it'd be silly for me to comment. But how could you have someone like Omar, who at the very least pretends, okay, let's at the very least, she's putting on an air like she knows what's going on. And you're gonna be like, well, because she didn't know about what was happening. Oh, are you joking, dude? Come on. She writes, it's not just that I believe that Omar didn't know these things she said could be so deeply offensive. I also believe that her misguided rhetoric can normalize violent anti-Semitism. Intentions aside, when a progressive leader uses the same tropes as an anti-Jewish bigot, it makes the ground fertile for ideas for the extreme right to sow themselves into other movements. I agree to an extent, yes. White supremacists, former Klansmen, like people, they have praised Ilhan Omar. They have praised her for these statements, okay? That's why it's absurd to think she doesn't know what she's doing. She is repeating rhetoric that we have seen from white supremacists. It was an accident. Okay, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. How many times does Ilhan Omar have to say these things before people actually stop and just be like, we know what she's doing, man? Let me tell you something. Okay, my main channel video today was very critical of Democrats, but can this please be a good example? They're defending her. The Republicans threw Steve King under the bus. Good. He wants to say stupid things, fine. Criticize him, condemn him for it. I look over there and I say, hey, there's some people who are doing the right thing. I disagree with them on politics, but we can have a conversation about it because I can see they're willing to get rid of these bigots, the people who are actually, look, I believe our Constitution is clear. I believe all people are worthy of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And anybody in government who thinks otherwise based on arbitrary characteristics it should not be given positions of power. Did the Democrats condemn Omar? No, they didn't. Did BuzzFeed? BuzzFeed is running a defense of her at the same time that they're somewhat criticizing her while she's being praised by white supremacists and repeating their rhetoric. So sure, here we are looking at the Democrats having these people in their ranks that I will criticize openly. And I feel like people are pretending. They're absolutely pretending. You know, you see people like, I'm not going to name some of these people because I do not want to start drama, but there are certain right-wing personalities who jokingly say offensive things. And I'm like, nah. No. I'm talking about really offensive things, like extremely offensive memes. And I'm like, dude, I know you're trying to be funny, but the point I'm making is, let me back up. You post a meme, and BuzzFeed's going to claim you are secretly dog whistling. Ilhan Omar can straight up say it, and they're like, oh, but let's give her the benefit of the doubt. Oh, okay, And so I'm just sick and tired of the double standard. Look, I know what my politics are. I know what policies I want to see enacted. But it's plain to anybody who's honest that this is the problem. I just get so pissed off from this stuff, man. You're gonna rag on someone for making a joke, and when they say it was a joke, you're gonna be like, oh, but was it? It was a dog whistle. And then Ilhan Omar can say it like, 5 times and get praised by these people, and they're like, but I'll give her the benefit of the doubt. Oh, please spare me. I got another segment coming up for you in a few minutes. Stick around. I'll see you then.